The fire hose of news from America can feel like a lot these days.
If you're trying to figure out what to make of it all, we got you.
I'm Katie Simpson.
And I'm Paul Hunter. We're correspondents here in Washington,
working just around the corner from where much of the action is taking place.
2 blocks from the White House.
And that's the name of our new podcast.
For top-notch analysis of U.S. politics from a Canadian perspective, find 2 blocks from the White House every Wednesday wherever you get your podcasts.
Including YouTube.
Frequency Podcast Network. Stories that matter, podcasts that resonate.
He's in the building!
Drink the moment. Drink it.
I said empty your mind.
Coquettish and coy. Ow. Ow.
What?
And there's people that are dying.
The wickedly talented.
More than great. It was historic.
Crack is
What?
Oh, good for you.
I have to apologize.
One of the hottest.
Hello, and welcome back to The Reheat, a podcast that re-examines the spiciest celebrity news and scandals of yesteryear and asks how would we react to the same events if they'd transpired today. I'm Sarah Sahagian.
And I'm Savannah, and this week is another hot off the press. Today, we are going to run through the biggest headlines owning the news over the last couple of weeks. First, a few quickies, of course. Okay, biggest one. This one's been hurting my heart a little bit, Sarah. James Van Der Beek, aka star of Dawson's Creek and 90s icon, died last week at age 48, just 48, after a battle with stage 3 colorectal cancer that he first disclosed publicly in 2024. Was a really fast shift. He passed peacefully at home in Austin, Texas. He was with his wife, Kimberly, and their 6 children. The love he and they received since has been so immense. Like, I've been watching it pour in all over social media. It's been so sweet. It's coming from former co-stars, his exes. Like, they've sent really beautiful messages. So we've got Katie Holmes. There's Alfonso Ribeiro, who is one of his best friends. All really, really touching. But I thought what was most devastating is that the family was left with very little after spending so much on his cancer treatment. He was selling his merch, his paraphernalia from Dawson's Creek, just to be able to afford that cancer treatment. That is heartbreaking. And remember, Kimberly has 6 kids. That's a lot to support on your own. So a GoFundMe was launched to support the family. It's already raised over $1 million, which is incredible.
It's raised more than $2.6 million.
It's raised over $2.6 million. Thank you, Sarah. So we've got a lot of famous faces contributing. Steven Spielberg put in a good chunk of money. Zoe Saldana put in a regular contribution. It's pretty wonderful to see. What's devastating about this, and I know everybody's been talking about it, is that, yeah, even famous people who you think are raking it in cannot afford healthcare in the way the average person can't. And not the average person cannot throw a GoFundMe and have a Steven Spielberg chip in, you know? But I have to say, I was a big Dawson's Creek fan back in the day. And even though I couldn't stand Dawson himself, this really got to me, Sarah. This really got to me. This was a face of my childhood. I don't know if you felt affected if you were a Dawson's fan, but
I was a huge fan, and I loved James Van Der Beek. I loved him from the beginning, right? I feel like he developed a lot of fans later when people realized that he as a person was delightful and that, you know, it was the character who they found annoying. But I actually liked the character, and I thought that the character was a pretty realistic depiction of a teenager, other than his vocabulary, because no teens speak that way. But other than his vocabulary, he had a sense of entitlement. He was always dysregulated. His reactions were really big. I actually thought it was a very realistic depiction of what it was like to be just a fairly run-of-the-mill adolescent. I think that we underappreciated that. Like, I know that people liked Pacey better. I think James Van Der Beek was, okay, don't shoot me, the much better actor. And also, I think he had a lot less vanity. He didn't care if you didn't like him in some scenes.
Yeah, that's so true. That's so true. He's also been so funny in the years since, like his role on
hilarious.
Don't Trust the Bee. He was in
so good.
Overcompensating, and he was so funny. He's been funny in honestly every little role he's taken on. I'm one of those late comers, Sarah. I hate to say it. Like, I was following him on Insta for a long time, and his wife and I just got wrapped up in their lives and watching them and their 6 kids who are all very blonde. And I was just like,
It's like a cult, but I mean, in it, I shouldn't put that on them. It's not their fault, but yes, they are very blonde.
they did look a bit like a cult. And there was a lot of talk about maybe these people don't believe in vaccinations. They don't believe in birth control, all that stuff. But it's interesting because when this kind of thing happens, we just put a pause on all that. And listen, I'm just sad about it. And I'm devastated for his wife. And I'm just so glad everybody's been contributing. It's really nice to see. Okay, next up, a little goofy news. If you know Spencer Pratt, he was a reality TV star. He was a big one of mine and Sarah's time. My God, this guy was a whole thing on The Hills, if you remember. What a character. Not a great guy, but very, very entertaining. Now, he announced recently that he is running for LA mayor, which is wild, but also why not? His sister, Stephanie, who also used to pop up on The Hills here and there, she spoke up this week and said a vote for him is a waste. She said he's only running in an attempt to stay famous. And I think she's absolutely right. Of course. He would find a way to make a reality show out of that, right? And I think I would watch it. She also made several allegations against him. She said that he used to beat her, that he got her hooked on drugs during her teen years, and that he was once in a cult. These are pretty big allegations. He hasn't addressed them.
I feel like he would accidentally end up in a cult. I don't know if it would be intentional.
So I feel like he would run a cult. Let's be real.
Yeah, no. And I feel like he was probably mad that he got suckered in and didn't just start a cult. Like, I feel like, that's his next reality show. He starts a cult.
Yes, I would. And I would watch it again. I would watch it.
So would I.
Yeah. So she said, but LA does not need another unqualified and inexperienced mayor. A vote for him is a vote for stupidity. Wow. Wow. Eloquently said, Stephanie. Thank you. I miss the Pratts. I miss them. Okay, for some actually very good, cute news, and I added this in just for you, Sarah. Larry the cat celebrated 15 years on Sunday as the British government's official rodent catcher and unofficial first feline. He's considered a reassuring presence who has served under 6 prime ministers. Bravo, Larry. We're very proud of you. Larry is very adorable. We will include photos in the show notes, but yeah, a little bit of happy news. Okay. Should we jump into our first meaty piece here, Sarah?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's jump in. Let's go into it. Okay.
Okay, so this is one that's been taken over everywhere. So this is the news around NBC News anchor Savannah Guthrie's mom. In case you haven't heard, 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie has become a major national story after she was reported missing from her Tucson, Arizona home on January 31st. So it's been a few weeks. Authorities found blood matching her DNA on her porch. They discovered that her personal items, so I'm talking phone, car, essential medication that she takes every day, were all left behind. And doorbell camera footage showed a masked, armed person tampering with it. You can actually see that footage online. It's pretty scary. Yeah. Now, Nancy has limited mobility. She relies on those daily meds. And investigators believe she didn't leave voluntarily. I think that's pretty clear, right? And the FBI are treating this like a kidnapping. This is their 3rd week of a search. Savannah, who stepped away from her Today Show duties and Olympic coverage, has been issuing regular tearful public appeals across social media with her siblings. Are pretty heartbreaking. They're urging whoever has their mother or anybody who has any information to please come forward and, quote, do the right thing. So far, law enforcement has received thousands of tips, which I bet it's actually well more than that, considering Savannah is such a public figure, but no arrests have been made. There's been nothing conclusive. There's countless conspiracy theories around what's happening here. The biggest one being that people believe she's being punished for her politics, and this is like a Trump operation. I don't think that's going to be the case, but all in all, it is the kind of story I feel like we tend to see in the movies. But I also feel like that's just what life has been like these days. The world is on fire, guys. This happening, I hate to say it, it didn't really shock me. Sarah, I want to know what theories you've had, what your thoughts have been.
It's really hard to theorize because it all feels so unbelievable, doesn't it? It feels like something that was too far-fetched even for the morning show. You know that Apple show, right?
Yes.
It feels like something where they're like, even we can't jump the shark that much. It doesn't feel real. And I mean, my heart goes out to this family and to this poor woman. It's awful. It's terrible. I mean, I'm sure countless movies, some of them good, some of them bad, will be made about this. Is a real life thriller. It's more intense than most thrillers. Like it has Gone Girl vibes, except even crazier. I can't imagine how these people feel because they're also, this does happen to people, that people, their relatives get abducted, but they are on a national stage. So everyone's interested in it. And yet, even that national stage and the fact that they're famous, so obviously the police are going to pay more attention to this, still has not resulted in their mother being found. So it's definitely a nightmare. What's your theory? Do you have a theory? Because I can't pick one. I don't know what happened.
I got nothing, Sarah. I'm so kind of befuddled by this whole thing. Yeah, it's weird to even be talking about Savannah Guthrie on a daily basis. Like, she's a sweet face on the Today Show, but I never thought that it would, that this kind of thing would be centered around this poor woman. And I feel so bad for her and her siblings because I keep thinking if that were my mom, and I just can't take it. And I also think this is interesting when you think about what it's like to be a female journalist. We've talked about this before and how scary it can be just being on such a public platform, and you will receive a lot of abuse constantly in your inbox, constantly on your social media. It's a scary gig to have, but this is on a whole other level. And that's the only way I can really relate to it because I've experienced that. But this makes it so personal for her. And it does kind of feel like there has to be a reason that she specifically has been targeted.
Yes. No, it does. And like, I know it's conspiracy theory that she's being punished by Trump supporters or even Trump himself, but I don't know. That's not really any more absurd than any of the other theories, right?
That's
because
the thing.
It's crazy regardless.
Yeah. And like, listen, I bet everybody's already gone through the Epstein files typing Guthrie and like trying to see whatever connection they can make. Life is so bizarre now. I don't think it's actually such a ridiculous theory. I don't think personally that's what's going on here. But I do wonder why they picked her in particular. It's also an interesting choice to choose someone's elderly parent rather than like a child. I don't know. It's all kind of bizarre. And I also feel like there's a lot that we don't know, right? And I just feel bad for her. I don't know. It's just a weird scenario. It's the first time I never thought I'd have like a story like this in all my group chats every morning. Like, we're all buzzing about it. I don't know. I do feel like the morning show is going to do a story on this though, Sarah.
Oh my God. Yes. And you know what? Here's the thing. Like, we've recently had so many pop culture stories about awful things happening to elderly people, right? Gene Hackman around this time last year. Of course, the tragedy that happened to Rob Reiner when he was allegedly murdered by his son. I mean, he hasn't been convicted yet, but it seems like, I don't think there's really any doubt he was charged right away. And it's just another story like this, but just as horrific as the Rob Reiner story in a different way. It's really demoralizing, actually. And I think that maybe the one good thing it will do is all these stories are, I think, forcing us to have a national or international conversation, because we're not American, about the way we treat elderly people and about elder abuse, which is a real problem. It's actually very common and we don't really talk a lot about it. But there is a lot of physical and emotional and financial abuse of elderly people. And so, I know it does not look like Savannah or her siblings were at all abusing their mother. It seems like they very much love her. But just the fact that somebody who had a problem with Savannah is taking it out on an 84-year-old woman, right? That, I think, is indicative of how little our society respects elderly people. And elderly women in particular are really not well taken care of. I mean, in Canada, the people who were the most likely to die of COVID were elderly women. Right? Women outlive men. But once they get to that stage where they need more care, and maybe because they're older, they need more help, we do not take great care of these people who've done so much to take care of society. So that's just something we should all remember.
So I completely agree with you. And I think what's really interesting here too is that we have all these guesses, right? But what if it turns out that it was just like a burglary gone wrong and she was just randomly chosen in some way and happens to be related to someone very famous? I've seen that theory going around too. It's hard to believe, right? Because it's like, how do you randomly choose the Guthrie household? That's kind of nuts. I don't know. And if you're asking for a ransom, you'd assume that you can get a pretty good chunky one if it's someone who's related to her. But I don't know. We can posit so many different ideas. It's just very dark. I think the other part of it too is the fact that we're getting constant updates makes this whole thing feel like a very parasocial relationship.
Yeah.
It feels like we're watching a true crime documentary on Netflix. And I feel like it's feeding all of us in the worst ways.
Yes.
Because I'm seeing, again, if we go back to the conspiracy theories, I'm seeing a lot of, and very young people like TikTok and other social media treating this like it is not real. Like it is a video game that they're walking through. And I'm like, guys, this is real. It's unfolding. This is not true crime right now. It's actually happening.
I know. And listen, I don't want to be an apologist for the police because I have no idea if they're handling this well or not, right? It's hard to tell from the outside, but I do think that all the arm sharing people are doing is not making it easier for the investigators to find this woman.
No, I don't think it helps at all. But listen, as it unfolds, we will update you guys once something really significant comes along, and inshallah they find her and she's okay. I really hope so. I think we're all really tied up in this and just really want to see it go well for the whole family. Fingers crossed. We got a lot more to dig into, some more fun stuff, I promise. But first, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. And we're back. Okay, next up, Sarah, there's been a ton of Olympics drama. I don't know if you've been noticing. I've not even really been watching Olympics. I'm just reading the tabloid drama around it. Yeah. Okay, so first of all, listen, athletes be fucking. We know that happens during the Olympics, right? The Olympic Village is always, it's spicy over there. They're also very dramatic people, I've realized. Athletes, I guess when you group international athletes together, it just gets really wild. Okay, so for instance, I'm going to hit you with a couple of big ones that are happening right now. Okay, after winning a bronze medal, Norwegian biathlon star Sturla Holm Lagreed, I hope I'm saying that right, stunned viewers by using his live post-race interview to reveal that he had cheated on his girlfriend of 6 months, cheerfully calling it the biggest mistake of his life and expressing hope for reconciliation. Now, this moment went viral immediately. I couldn't stop laughing when I saw this. I insist that you all go and watch it. We'll link to it. Here's the thing. It also overshadowed his and his teammate's gold medal win. I would be so pissed if I was his teammate. For the record, it also put a lot of heat on his ex because a lot of people were assuming that surely she made him do this, which fuck you. Like, that also feels very anti-lady. But anyway, she confirmed she did not want him to do this. She does not want to get back together.
Nope,
She's not interested. Good. What the hell? Sir, did you see this go down?
Yes, it was ridiculous. Like, first of all, what a narcissist. Like, I'm not surprised he cheated on her because you're right. He overshadowed the teammate's moment, right? This person worked so hard to get a gold medal and no one was talking about it. I'm sorry.
No.
This woman should not take him back, of course. He's full of red flags. Also, it's a girlfriend of 6 months. 6 months. I'm sorry. Like, if a guy is causing you that much grief and that much embarrassment 6 months in, obviously don't take him back. This woman is smart. She is smart. I hope she uses this to get whatever she wants in life. I don't know what her goals are, but I'm hoping that she somehow profits off of this. And I just feel bad for the teammate. And so I hope that teammate gets their moment and gets their time to shine.
No.
Because can you just imagine the guy who came bronze? Part of me wonders if he really wants her back or he was just mad he didn't win gold. And that's somebody that he knew won gold. And so he decided, I'm going to upstage him somehow, right? Like, this is what I'm wondering. This is like a season of Ryan Murphy's Feud. Like, are we going to find out that there's more backstory here, right? I don't know. But I'm just a little bit concerned for this gold medalist and what's going to happen to him. I don't know. Have you been following it since? It's just so ridiculous.
No, here's the thing. Listen, guys, all my friends are watching, and I've never really been a big Olympics girl. If there's anything I tune into, I'm a cliche. I'll watch the ice skating. But with this, no, I just check in on the drama and then I check out. And I know he's still a laughing stock. I think he's made a few more very public statements about this, reiterating the same message, which I find a little odd. Like, why are you doubling, tripling down?
I know.
It's almost like he wanted to have like a big press moment and like get his name in the news. Part of me feels like this is more intentional than we realize. Like, I don't think he was just so overcome by his love and his guilt. I think he kind of wanted a moment in the sun, but he came off like an asshole either way. Okay, so there's a little more. There's a lot more heavy drama happening. So here's another big one that's been going on. French ice dance duo Laurence Fournier-Baudry and Guillaume Cizeron won the gold medal in the individual ice dance event in a very narrow victory over U.S. favorites Madison Chalk and Evan Bates. But this win has also been massively overshadowed. Why? Well, critics pointed to inconsistencies in scoring. Now, we hear about this a lot at the Olympics, right? But this
French
one's
judges.
I know. This one is really wild because, as Sarah points out, it was a French judge. She's absolutely right. Their marks differed so dramatically from all the other panelists. And it's surprising because there were also really visible errors made by the French team. So people are kind of mind boggled that this judge gave them such a good score because. And then also the final scores did end up favoring this couple, and they feel like it was just because of this judge. Many fans, pundits, have questioned whether bias played a role here. I mean, come on, go figure. And then there's all the behind-the-scenes drama that's not helping. So Baudry, who only teamed up with Cizeron in 2025 and recently secured French citizenship to compete together, previously skated with and remains close to her former partner and current boyfriend, Nikolai Sorensen. Stick with me here. His career was derailed recently by sexual assault allegations and a suspension by the Canadian figure skating team. Yeah, so she's been really sticking up for her guy, even though he's being faced with all of these assault allegations. It's not making her look good. She also then renounced the Canadian team herself in his favor and joined the French team. And she's continuing to constantly defend him every chance she gets. So the fact that their team won just makes this whole thing even more egregious. Meanwhile, Cizeron split from longtime partner and 2022 Olympic champ Gabriela Papadakis was tainted by her memoir, which alleges controlling behavior that he's denied, of course. All of this has left the ice dance community in a tizzy. As Sarah said, listen, we're anti-French when it comes to the Olympics because they've done this before, right? Like, this is not new.
No, I mean, remember Jamie Salé and David Pelletier, right?
How
Like
can I
everyone
forget?
cared about that. Even the Americans are upset. Rosie O'Donnell was very upset about what happened to them.
She was?
She was. She called them the Canadian American team because she felt like she was so invested in them getting the gold that they deserved. And they did eventually get that gold. So obviously, I don't know what's happening with the French figure skating community. I don't want to say that this reflects France as a whole, as a country, but there is something corrupt about skating in general, whether it's ice dancing or figure skating in that country, and their judges are just incredibly unethical people. So maybe they, as a country, should be banned from judging figure skating for a decade or so while they sort this out. This is just, I'm not an Olympic official, but that's just my suggestion. What do you think?
Well, that's what people are demanding, right? They want more transparency. They feel like maybe this judge needs to be penalized in some way. Thing is, people have been demanding transparency from the panelists and the judges for so long. It never comes through into a streamlined process. I don't think it's ever going to at this rate. There's always a cheating scandal. There's one happening with the Canadian curling team right now, too. There's a bunch around other teams. There's rumors constantly flying. I don't know what's true. It does crack me up, though, that there's a scandal surrounding the curling team. That just feels silly to put those words together. But the thing that's the wildest for me around this particular scandal is just how terrible these people seem. Like, judge aside, this couple, this teammate, this duo, I should say, they both don't seem like great people. Like, I don't understand why this woman is standing so hard by her ex, who definitely seems like a sketchy dude, and to the point where she renounced the Canadian team. So you're giving up your own successes to try things with the French team, but I guess maybe it wasn't a bad idea because she was clearly rewarded for it, which also just feels then doubly messy. It's like she's being rewarded for standing by her man. And I don't know. It feels weird.
Do you think that there was some corruption, some scene in like a parking lot where some fancy French person was like, if you renounce your team, we will let you defend your boyfriend. And if you become French, we will give you the gold, right? Like this is just giving. I read a book called Mystère à Amboise when I was in, I think, grade 8, which was all about how Leonardo da Vinci left Italy for France. And there's this really dramatic scene where these Italians try to kidnap him and take him back to Italy. And there is no reason to believe that this ever happened in history, in real life. But he gives this dramatic speech about like, no, I love France. I would rather die than go to Italy. Italy is the worst. Like basically Italy is hell. And so it's just reminding me of that, right? Yeah, this is a real book I read. I guess how much better France is than Italy was the moral of the story. So I'm just wondering if it was a similar dynamic, right? You know, the French were able to get Leonardo da Vinci from Italy. They got this woman from Canada. I don't know. I just feel like something dramatic went down, something kind of sinister when they recruited her.
I've had thoughts that maybe, yes, she got recruited by the French team. They were probably a little more explicit. Like, I always wonder if this kind of thing goes down in the Olympics and between teams, especially between countries.
Mm-hmm.
And it just seemed to make a lot of sense considering what went down with her guy. I don't know that they necessarily were like, we're okay with you defending him in exchange, but I think she probably made it known she's not happy. And then they were like, well, why don't you come this side? And she was like, okay, perfect. And here you go. She got a win out of it for switching teams. So I don't know. It all reads very sketchy. And as Sarah said, we are not anti-France, not all French people. We're just, you know, we're making our own assessments here.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Now we are going to cut to Sarah's favorite news. And I'm very thrilled about this myself. Okay. Gossip Girl author Cecily von Ziegesar, which is a name I haven't thought about in so long. Oh, I missed it. She's officially bringing back our favorite gal, Blair Waldorf, in a brand new standalone novel titled Blair. The book is set roughly 20 years after the original series, with Blair now in her 40s trying to navigate New York to reclaim her status atop the elite social hierarchy she once ruled. It's a major throwback to the franchise that launched in 2002 and inspired, of course, our beloved CW adaptation. But this time, the focus shifts from teenagers to an adult Blair, which God bless, as she navigates a very different and very modern Upper East Side landscape. I just love this idea. I think it's so smart. It's tentatively slated for a summer 2027 release after a competitive publishing deal. No shock there, because of course we also know Gossip Girl was recently adapted for a new Gen Z targeted series. It didn't do so well, and frankly, it wasn't so great, but there's still clearly a thirst for it. And so many fans are curious if this could mean a future TV adaptation. And I know we would all kill to see Leighton Meester return. Sarah, tell me everything you are feeling. What's running through your mind? What do you want to see?
Okay, first of all, thank you, Cecily, for pandering to millennials so blatantly. It's like Nail Blair's in her 40s, just like you guys are entering your 40s. I love this. I think this woman is a genius. This is like when Margaret Atwood wrote The Testaments after The Handmaid's Tale was so popular on TV. This is Cecily's The Testaments.
Wow.
Okay, obviously it's not going to be as important or as literary at all. Maybe, who knows? Maybe Blair Waldorf becomes a senator and fights for reproductive rights and goes to war with ICE. Like maybe she does important things. I don't think she will. I think she'll just wear a lot of Loewe. And that's fine. That's fine too. We need escapism. This is very exciting for so many reasons. So my big question for you is, do you think it will be a sequel that really acts as a sequel to the book series, which is very different, or the TV series? Because the truth is, even if you liked the books, the thing that you remember more is you do remember the TV show. It became far more iconic than the books. And that's not a slight. It just did. That's just a fact. In part because of Leighton Meester's performance. She's the Blair everyone thinks about. People do not think about the Blair in the books. They think about Leighton Meester's interpretation of that character. So do you think this will be Blair married to Chuck Bass? Or, I mean, the fan fiction I wrote about this is Chuck is dead. Or do you think it will be the Blair of the books who actually did go to Yale, I believe? I believe that her life followed the trajectory that she wanted it to in season 1.
You know, I'm really curious, and I was thinking about this too, because I see everybody's thinking the same thing. Are we going to see a return to Chuck? What's going to happen? I'm so curious because I think Cecily has a tough task here because on the one hand, listen, when the show was running, I was obsessed with Chuck. I loved them together. Of course, then once they had Penn Badgley's Dan paired up with her, I loved that even more. I'd be happy with either one of those, I would think. However, things have shifted in the Ed Westwick world, right? And I think the read around Chuck Bass was he was a little rapey. And while that felt a little more acceptable at the time, dare I say, not so much recently. And honestly, he was a real dick towards her in the end. I was very frustrated. Listen, he sold her for a building, right? Or for a hotel?
Yeah, a hotel.
Yeah, that's tough to swallow.
Her for a hotel. Yeah, I don't think you can come back from that. And yet they got married. So I don't know.
I know. My theory is they will have been divorced and maybe he's had assault allegations. Who knows? But I think in this future world, she's very much her own woman. That's my guess. That's what I would love to see. You know what would be amazing? If she and Dan reconnect. Oh, that would be delicious.
Yes. So here's my theory of what has happened, because I actually think they will eventually bring Ed Westwick in, but I don't think they'll start with him. So I think he is dead, but he's actually like in the witness protection program and she doesn't know that. So kind of like his dad faked his own death. So he will be dead. She'll return to New York from Paris, where she was living, working on her mother's fashion label. She will have 2 sons, Henry and Peregrine. Those are the names. And then Serena will have left. She will have abandoned the daughter that she has with Dan. And then Dan and Blair will be co-parenting. Blair will be the daughter's surrogate mother. One night they'll hook up. The kids will get really upset about it, right? Because, you know, like, what if this doesn't work out? This is our only family, right? No one will be happy about this. Probably she'll get pregnant because that's the way they kind of make drama come to a head in TV. They'll have a daughter named Ellie, and then Chuck will come back from the dead, and then they'll have the throuple they were always meant to have.
Ooh, okay, that's much spicier than my theory. I like that a lot. I like that a lot. And here's the thing. Cecily is writing this at a very modern and more progressive time, right? So I do feel like she will try her best to keep up with the time. So maybe we'll see a bit of that. I'm very curious. I also see that you believe she will stay in the fashion space. I'm curious about that too. I would love to see her in the fashion space, but as we know, she was very smart all around. So who knows what she could be up to. I could also see her taking on something, as you hinted at previously, maybe a political career. I don't know. Maybe
she'd be great.
She'd be so great. I feel like this is potential for a whole new series, a whole new universe. I've always gotten the sense that Leighton is very much done with Gossip Girl, but God, in my fantasies, like, this is something she would totally give us.
Everyone has their price. So Leighton Meester is in the position right now where she can put a number on a piece of paper.
You think
and hand it to executives.
I don't know if she is, Sarah. Do you think so?
Well, because they need her if they want to make a TV or film adaptation. So I think that if someone buys the rights, if somebody does buy the rights, which I think they will literally have to call this woman up and be like, what do you want? And if she's like, I want a unicorn, they're going to have to find a way to genetically engineer one, right? Like she is going to put her ideal salary on a piece of paper. And she's also never said she was completely done with it. She's always implied she would come back for the right price. I remember when they did the oral history of Gossip Girl for Vanity Fair, she was basically like, well, never say never, right? You know, I might want a new house. And she needs a new house. Her house burned down. And I mean, I know her husband's career is going well, but the truth is she is an icon. And if you really want to create intergenerational wealth, if you really want to make it so your kids never have to work or you can produce your own projects, like if I were her, what I would do is I would say, okay, I have these 3 projects I want to do in addition to Gossip Girl. You're going to pay me an obscene amount of money for Gossip Girl. And you are also going to produce my dream projects. This is what Ellen Pompeo did with Grey's Anatomy towards the end. Like, you are going to give me everything I want. And then I'm going to come, be a professional, do my best work. So, and I would actually say, even though it was called Grey's Anatomy, Leighton Meester is way more essential to the Gossip Girl universe than Ellen Pompeo ever was to Grey's Anatomy.
We could make the comparison that Blake Lively was meant to be the Ellen Pompeo, right? But it didn't really work out that way. I think, yeah, Leighton Meester kind of really won people over more than anybody. I want to believe this so badly, Sarah, but then I also am haunted by things like The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, where we had Daniel Craig and Rooney Mara. And even though it did well at the box office. It was a critical success, and I loved it so much. They ended up just not going ahead with sequels. They also planned, not those sequels anyway, they made other versions without Rooney, without Daniel Craig, even though they were fantastic in the role, even though they sold so many tickets. They were like, we can do it with other people and for less. And that kind of thing has burnt me for a long time. So I hope you're right, Sarah, because I do agree. This is the Leighton of our times. I want to see it so, so badly. Even if we have to wait like a decade, I'll take anything. And maybe we'll do like a big reading club episode because I feel like
we are all going to read this. Okay, we will read it.
Got to.
Also, there's going to be an American Girl novel about Samantha as an adult. So I love the way the literary community is like, how do we sell books? Okay. What do millennial women love? Right? Okay. Let's just write books that serve their nostalgia. So in some ways, I feel very empowered right now as a millennial woman because, you know what, we're aging out of what was traditionally the core demographic, and yet everyone is still trying to sell us stuff. So I feel good about it. How do you feel?
I feel so good. I feel exactly like you do. I feel like they're just giving us what we want. I feel like this is the era of nostalgia more than ever, right? We said the world is burning, so people are giving us the nostalgic things that make us feel better. This is going to make me feel real good. So I'm all for it. And I think that's this week's episode, Sarah. Thank you to all of our gorgeous listeners. That squeaking is Omar in the background. We'll be back next week again with a brand new episode. You can listen to the Reheat for free on the Seeker app. You can also find the show on the Frequency Podcast Network or wherever you get your podcasts. If you want to hear more from me, you can find me on Twitter at _StaphSon and on Instagram at Canada Whore. Sarah, where can our listeners find you?
Listeners can find me on Instagram at Sahagian Sarah. And if you liked this podcast, one thing you can really do to help us out is to rate, review, and subscribe, because that really does help other listeners help us too. If you would like us to keep growing, as we hope you do, we would love for you to support us on Patreon at patreon.com/thereheat, where we've got some goods in store for you. I'm turning 40 soon. You can think of it as a birthday present to me if you're so inclined, or you don't have to if you're not. And think of it as a present to Sadaf, who also has a birthday soon. It's a birthday kind of time all round. So whatever inspires you to give to our Patreon, that's cool. Thanks for listening, everyone.